Hey, it's me. I am making my 2 week post-op video 2 weeks ago. Actually, I should just preface this and say that I've developed a dry cough the past couple days. So if I cough during this video, please forgive me. I'm not trying to be rude. I just can't help it, and I think talking a lot is gonna make me cough, so bear with me. This is my 2 week post-op video. I'm feeling pretty good. We did have, I'll talk about a setback and I'll talk about, the good stuff that's happened over the past week. The setback was the week after surgery. I went to go see my plastic surgeon. After surgery, they put a drain in your back to let whatever fluids that need to come out after surgery, it helps it drain out. I had a few days with very little fluid output, so my plastic surgeon felt comfortable removing the drain. So after that, I just had stitches and staples in my back and I was completely closed up. 3 days later, I started leaking a lot through my stitches, my closed wound. So I contacted my plastic surgeon. He had me come back in. He was kind of confused by it. He thinks there's fluid somewhere that's still trying to get out, and he was a little frustrated. I was a little frustrated, but he ended up taking out stitches and staples towards the bottom of my wound, and he stuck his fingers in it and opened it up, which would allow whatever fluid that's in there and that needs to come out. It gives it a pathway to get out. So that felt like a little setback. I was a little disappointed after being so happy that they were able to finally close me up. I have not had a closed wound in my back since August of 2020, so I was very happy to be fully closed up. And whenever he had to open it again, it did make me a little nervous, but we're monitoring it. He tested the fluid. It didn't come back for any bacteria. And I also had a follow-up with my orthopedic surgeon. Whenever we were in surgery, he took a large sample of the fluid that was deep in my back. I think I mentioned before, but I'll mention it again. I've had a couple of wound cultures done over the course of this happening, and they've all come back negative for any bacteria, so it's been a confusing point for all of us. Apparently it's not unusual, but everyone still seems kind of surprised that it's not testing positive for a bacteria. So when I saw my orthopedic surgeon, he told me that they sent the sample off to the lab and they allow it to sit there and see if a bacteria grows from the fluid, and nothing grew from the fluid that they took from me. So it's not good news or bad news. I think the main reason they wanted to know is because I'm on the PICC line. I'm taking vancomycin, but whenever you know exactly what bacteria is in your body, they can tailor your antibiotics so that it's targeting the right bacteria. That being said, vancomycin is a really strong antibiotic. I think it's one of the strongest that we have access to, so he's pretty confident that the vancomycin will kill whatever's going on inside of me. So overall, things are going on well. I'm not in a lot of pain. I'm not taking pain meds anymore. Even before, I wasn't taking them that often, but there's some days that I need them. I'm not pain-free, but I haven't felt like I needed pain medication. It's just kind of soreness and discomfort with some movement. That being said, I am rolling over. I wouldn't say I'm rolling over. I'm kind of like stuttering into different positions. I can lay on my side and on my back. If I'm sleeping and I want to change positions, I pretty much wake up to make a very intentional move, but I feel very comfortable doing it. So I feel pretty happy about that. I don't know if other people with spinal fusions relate to this, but after my spinal fusion, I slept exclusively on my back. It was like the day after surgery, I never went back to sleeping on my stomach, only my back or my sides. I could never get comfortable on my stomach again. So I'm excited that I'm laying on my stomach. I can definitely tell that the hardware is not in me, and it's tricky because, in my head, I'm wanting to push the limits of my new flexibility, because I feel like without the hardware, I'm a little bit more flexible than I was with the hardware. So I'm interested to see any changes in my body with like twisting and, getting back to Pilates and stuff like that, if I notice like any extra mobility. So I'm not pushing the limits, but I poke a little bit, but I'm really listening to my body, and it's, even like reaching too high, stretching too far, all these things don't really feel comfortable yet, so I'm not going to do those things, but I'm curious as to what that's going to feel like in a few weeks. And I did walk my mile. Last week was my goal, was to walk a mile. I was really happy about that. I went early one morning and it felt fine. It felt weird, there was a discomfort, but I know that I still have a wound in my back, so just went through major surgery. I'm guessing it's all related to that, and I haven't walked in a while. But I was able to make the mile without any issues. I did run for about 10 feet. I saw a stick. I spooked myself. I thought it was a snake. My fight or flight was activated, so yeah, I ran. That didn't feel great, so I definitely won't be running for a while, and it wasn't my intention to go out there and run anyway. So overall, I'm feeling good. I've really had to remind myself that this recovery is not, I don't play a huge role in this recovery. You know, there's some things that I can do, making sure that I'm comfortable, eating the right things, you know, taking my antibiotics when I need to, or on the right schedule, but the body does what it wants to do. So I just really have to listen to my body. And even though having the wound open again was a little disappointing, I know that I'm being monitored, and you know, whatever's in there just needs to come out, and so I'm allowing that to happen. I'm bummed about doing dressing changes and packing it again. It's very painful, and it's the worst part of my day. But every day we're getting through it, and you know, I know this is part of it. It's the ups and downs of recovery. So I could have never, and going into surgery, there were a lot of unknowns. So now being on the other side of it and knowing what I know, which is that the hardware is out and I'm mostly closed up, that feels really good. Prior to surgery, I signed consent for, like, you know, a skin graft, and I was also mentally prepared to be left open, like my entire back being left open and having a lot of tissue removed. So overall, everything is going really well, and even though we had a little setback this week with having to open the wound again, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling positive, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is a pretty short update. I don't want to say there's nothing significant. I think walking a mile is significant, you know, getting 2 weeks post-op is significant, and rolling over and having comfort in my bed, that was significant too. So I'm feeling pretty good. I will make another update next week, and yeah, I guess that's it.